Shawty.
I do.
Is that on September 9th, 2019?
It is.
And I'm going to go to 8794. Do you see this image?
I do.
Okay. If you could just read the image for the record and for the jury.
At Primrose Schools, we know that being little is a big deal, that curiosity and compassion can be nurtured, and confidence and creativity.
Cleveland, where? Cleveland Park, time 6:30, when? 9/9. Bring your own balloons. Some will be provided.
And do you see some information in the background of this picture?
Yeah, I see a photo of, I believe his name is Jaquan Stevens. He was killed several years ago. And he's putting up, you'll see the YSL in green letters, and you'll see him throwing the hand sign typically associated with members of YSL.
And do you see any emojis?
Green heart and a snake emoji.
And in your experience investigation, have you seen members of YSL wear a Rudy Gang tattoo?
Yes.
I'm going to go to page 8795. Do you see what appears to be a group chat on 8795 through 8796?
I do.
All right. Now, starting on 8795, are you familiar with, do you know the Instagram handle _LittleQuay1?
I've seen it, but I'm not sure of the actual account holder.
All right. And then do you see a message, excuse me, an author, keep up, we up with several P's?
I do.
Right. Are you familiar with that Instagram handle?
I'm familiar with the handle, yes.
Okay. Do you know who that is?
I keep up, we up is pretty common. They'll put different names with it, so I'd have to see a photo. But
right. Looking at slimelife.shorty.
That would be the Instagram account associated with One Lee.
Okay. And then what about 1bslime_?
That would be the Instagram account associated with Jaborius Greer.
All right. And then do you also see on here a Instagram handle with Ocean Drive Slim?
I do.
Okay. And who is that associated with?
Christian McMiller.
All right. And then flipping to 8796, do you see 2x_unfunk?
I do.
And are you familiar with that Instagram handle?
That would be Mr. Quantavious Greer.
And is that the same Quantavious Greer we talked about earlier?
It is.
All right. And looking at this message, do you see the two messages that are back to back?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier you said that Mob and YSL kind of linked up together.
Correct.
All right. Now looking at these text messages, what, if anything, do you discern from those two text messages? Or messages, excuse me.
From these messages?
I can approach it.
Okay, because Max said, get to the point. Max said, I'm tired of you just talking about any and everything. Like, what point are you making? Showing all of this. What's the point, girl? Now, I understood a little bit earlier when she was going through all of the wiretaps on the phones, because she was basically trying to show like the organization between the guys and their pursuit to protect one another. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was in support of, you know, the gang charges and possibly some of the RICO, but y'all know how I feel about the RICO. No racketeering. So hard to prove the RICO, but I will say, as far as the gang charge goes, I felt like some of those calls kind of supported participation in criminal street thing activity. That's just my personal opinion. So I got those calls. Like, I understood what she was doing with those calls. But this girl, what's going on? And mind y'all, we was just in 2022. We back to 2019. We back in 2019. You were supposed to be done at 10:45, girl. It is 2:15. 2:45. I mean 10:45 and it's 2:15. Like, girl. Yeah. Imagine if it was Miss Love, y'all. What if it was Miss Love doing it? Bro,
I'm gonna go back to page 8797. I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom of 8797. Do you see a message on September 9th, 2019 from Instagram handle og.bull_?
I do.
Okay, what does the text say?
PFK look crazy. We gonna tear that shit up. I'm putting you down now.
And flipping to page 8798.
I'm on the bullshit would be the continuation of that message.
And then do you see an emoji response that we can't see from Ocean Drive Slim?
I do.
Okay. Is there a response after that?
Yes, there's a response to Mr. Stillwell's account.
Okay, what does it say?
If we get into everybody, go for a chain.
And is there a response by slimelife.shawty, or the Instagram handle for slimelife.shawty?
There is.
What does it say?
Or the B-roll.
And is there another response by the Instagram handle og.bull_?
Yes, to which Mr. Still responds for show.
Right. And then is there a response by Ocean Drive Slim?
Yes, and it is, if racial expletive don't ride, you be ride back with the ops. You'll be more safer with them.
And then is there a further response by the same Instagram handle?
See y'all soon.
And then is there a response by the og.bull_ Instagram?
He says, Mr. Still says, I agree with that.
And is there a response by Instagram handle blocklife_Aki or OKKY?
Yes.
What is the response?
He responds and says, accurate.
And then is there a response by keep up, we up with 3 or 4 P's?
Yes, he says, is it a particular person who y'all are talking about not riding?
And then is there a response by Ocean Drive Slim?
Mr. McMillan responds, hell nah, fool, just a friendly reminder.
And going to page 8799. Do you see a text on September 10th, 2019
I do.
by individual or Instagram handle Bloody Rari?
I do.
And what does it say?
Stay dangerous, everybody.
And do you see the message, the author Do It for Phil?
I do.
Are you familiar with that Instagram handle?
I am.
And are you familiar with who that account is associated with?
I am.
Who is that?
It's a gentleman by the name of Miles Farley.
And is that the same Miles Farley that was discussed on the on the wiretap calls?
It is.
All right. Now, as a part of your investigation, did you obtain a search warrant to get photographs of tattoos? In this case.
I did.
And were you able to get tattoos for Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Kendrick?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 513 VV through 517 VV and 518 VV through 526 VV. Tell me if you recognize those pictures.
513 would be the photographs of Mr. Stillwell's tattoos, and then starting at 518 would be the photographs of Mr. Kendrick's tattoos.
And do those appear to be fair and accurate depictions of the images that were taken as a result of the search warrant you took out?
They do.
Your Honor, this time the state would like to admit 513 VV through 526 VV into evidence.
You're admitted.
And permission to publish.
You may.
Looking at 513 VV, who are we looking at 513 VV?
Mr. Stillwell.
And are you able to tell from this image if he has a tattoo along his neck?
I am.
Okay. And what, if anything, does that tattoo say?
Omerta.
And have you heard that term before?
I have.
What is your understanding of omerta?
Typically favored by members of the Goodfellas. It's meaning the code of silence.
Right. Now, is there also a tattoo that says the price of loyalty is wealth and the price of disloyalty is death?
Yes.
Now looking at 514 BV. Oh, you know what, let's stay on. Sorry, we can go back to 513. On the top of Mr. Stillwell's chest, do you see two B's at the top of his chest?
Yes.
All right. And if you can indicate that on with the highlighter.
On the left side, or on his right side, and on his left side.
Okay. And the omerta tattoo, where's the omerta tattoo?
Across his neck.
And then the tattoo that I read, the price of loyalty is wealth and the price of disloyalty is death. Where's that located?
On the upper right portion of his chest.
All right. Now looking at 514 VV. And 515 VV. I mean, excuse me, 514 VV. Looking at 515 VV, do you see a tattoo on his arm?
I do.
Okay. And are you able to see the top of that tattoo?
I am.
Okay. What does it say?
It says blood money, but there's a purposeful misspelling of the word blood with the O's replaced with the 5-9.
What's the significance of the 5-9?
Mr. Stillwell has, I'm not sure if he still does or not, claimed affiliation previously with the 5-9 brim set. And they'll use the 5-9, or sometimes with, when we talked about 9 deuce earlier, you'll see the O's get replaced by 9-2. So in this case, he replaced the O's with the 5-9.
And then looking at 516 VV.
Okay.
Are you able to read the tattoo that's on the left side of his neck?
I am.
What does it say?
Family before all.
All right. And then looking at 517 VV.
2 face, 1 tear. It's hard to read in the middle portion.
All right. And if you could just show the jury on the big screen.
2 face, 1 tear.
Now looking at Stacey's exhibit 518 VV. And who is depicted in 518 VV?
Mr. Kendricks.
Okay. And I want to go to 520 VV. Looking on Mr. Kendrick's right arm, do you see a tattoo?
I do.
And what does it say?
In green, you can see the word slat on his right forearm.
And again, as a part of your investigation with the YSL gang itself, have you seen that terminology?
I have.
And do you have an understanding based on your investigation what slat means?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a play. Traditionally, the Bloods will say blat, blood love all the time. It's a play on that to stand for slime love all the time.
Now, also looking at 521 VV,
Okay.
do you see a tattoo in the middle of Mr. Kendrick's stomach?
I do.
What is depicted in the middle of his stomach?
It's a snake and it comes up through his chest. I think the head of the snake comes up over here out through his shoulder and goes around his neck.
All right, I want to look at 522 VV. $523 VV. Is that the snake that you're still looking at going to the left side of his neck?
Yes.
All right. 524 VV. And there's this snake wrapping around coming out the right side of his neck.
It is.
And then 525 VV.
That will be the middle of Mr. Kendrick's neck where you'll see the YSL.
And in,
Okay.
and in doing your investigation, is there some symbolism with the snake and YSL?
Yes, those are two identifiers for the gang.
Say that again.
Two identifiers for the gang.
What are the two identifiers for the gang?
Well, the snake, they like the emoji. You'll see it used a lot sometimes in music videos. You'll even see they'll have a live snake around their neck. So it's something that's widely used.
And then looking at 526 VV.
Okay.
Do you see a tattoo on the back of his left arm?
I do.
And what does that tattoo say?
ESPN.
And can you show the jury on a big screen?
You see ESPN. It's kind of blurry, but it's right there.
And is that similar to what we discussed a few moments ago? Every slime play nasty.
In relation to YSL, it stands for every slime play nasty.
Now, during the course of your investigation and work in this case, did you continue to pull social media from individuals that are being investigated as a part of this case prior to the indictment of this case?
Some, yes.
And did you have occasion to pull public social media posts from og.bull_?
Yes.
Did you also pull social media that had pictures of Mr. Kendrick from various different social Instagram accounts?
Yes.
Did you also pull any music videos in which Mr. Kendrick was featured?
Yes.
And then did you also pull social media from an account Slime Business Rod?
Yes.
And whose Instagram account was that?
Slime Business Rod would be a gentleman that goes by the name Rodelius Ryan.
And did you also pull video from that account as well?
I did.
And have you had the opportunity to review those items prior to your testimony today?
I have.
and I'm sorry, did you also pull social media from the account doitforphil_?
Yes.
And is that the same Miles Farley that we discussed earlier?
Yes.
I'm gonna first show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 435 VV, 436 VV, and 436 VVA. Tell me if you recognize those exhibits.
These are going to be postings from Mr. Stillwell's private account. I mean, public account.
And do those appear to be fair, accurate depictions of Instagram posts that you pulled as a part of your investigation in this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would like to admit 435 VV, 436 VV, and 436 VVA into evidence.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, may I just briefly look?
Yes.
Thank you, Beta.
And Ms. Hilton, while he's looking, tell me those numbers again.
Yes, Your Honor. 435 VV, 436 VVA, and 436 VV.
So 435 VV, 436 VV, and then 436 VVA.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Those are admitted.
Thank you. Now, looking at State's Exhibit 433 VV, 479 VV, and 480 VV, tell me if you recognize those three exhibits.
These would be from Mr. Farley's Instagram account.
And do those appear to be fair, accurate depictions of posts from Mr. Farley's Instagram account?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would like to admit 433 VV, 479 VV, and 480 VV.
Those are admitted.
Now I want you to look at 430. For 30 VV, 434 VV, 511 VV, 512 VV. First time if you recognize those.
These would be posts concerning Mr. Kendrick.
And do those appear to be fair and depictions of pictures of Mr. Kendrick from different Instagram pages?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would like to admit 430 VV, 434 VV, 511 VV, and 512 VV into evidence.
Admitted. Oh, sorry. Sure. Let's take a bathroom break. I don't know. Do we-
Yeah, I'm gonna run up and grab my notebook while I'm at it. But yeah, y'all. Like, I don't know why Hilton can't read the room. Baby, read the room. Thank you, Miss X. I don't know why Hilton can't read the room, girl. We gone. Nobody is paying attention no more. We don't know who, what, when, where, and why at this point. I can't remember which one of y'all said it, but we done done a quantum leap through space and time so much. I'm sure that they got motion sickness. It's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. Doug said he needed to see. He needed to see what's going on. I need to grab my notebook real quick. So I'm gonna run upstairs and grab my notebook. I should be gone for a couple seconds. But child, Hilton should be ashamed. She should be a damn shame of herself. I'll be right back. Yeah. All right. So that's all right, y'all. So thus far, today we didn't realize that Demekian Garlington still got a motor mouth. It's all type of hybrids going on, and they flip-flopping through gangs. A slider ain't just a burger from White Castles. Apparently, the jail the jail not secure, okay? Because apparently you could fly a drone into the jail. Shannon, Granny, Miss Betty, a YSL unindicted co-conspirator. Mootuk was going off on them, telling them that the Rico was coming. You can also go outside and go op hunting. You better stay dangerous if you get tattoos out the kitchen, because if one fight, we all fight. I think that sums it up of what has happened thus far. Jason, how you missed the drone? That was part one of the day. They was on the phone talking about how you could fly a drone into the jail, girl, through a window. Okay. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying those are my notes for today. I can run back through them if anybody needs to be caught up. You need to be caught up. Because I can run back through them for you. But what threw me, I'm gonna tell y'all what really threw me though. When we were playing the calls, and she was getting ready to play the calls of Demekian Garlington, She said, only evidence that's here are the statements made by Demekion Wellington. How the hell do they know which one was Demekion? I want to know. How do they know which one was Demekion? Do they got a transcript that they're going to give to him when it's time to deliberate? Because I don't know which one was Demekion. I need somebody to explain that part to me. How are they going to know who is Demekion? And y'all play call after call after call after call. All the voices started to sound the same to me. Mm-hmm. What about Shannon's girlfriend? She was a rider for sure. Which one? Polka or the other one? Which one, Ebony's? Because Polka was like, "What them phones at?" I know he got caught with my thumper, but you know, the rental is legit, so I don't even know why would he go on a low speed, high speed chase. Yeah. Polka was down. She was most definitely down for the team, but they said that she was crazy. Remember the other call last week? He said, "Yeah, that girl in the charge," and she kept on asking, "Where's Shannon? Where SB? Where you was at?" Baby, she ain't play about Shannon, and it seemed like Shannon ain't play about her either. Polka did her big one. Baby, but now I know we all love Shannon. It's big time. Free Shannon, free Yak. We all saying the same thing. But baby Shannon, if you ever come across this video and you happen to watch it, just stick to talking to the girls because that's working for you. Stick to talking to the girls because that's working for you. Okay. Rapping, it just ain't for everybody. I'm sure it was something fun for you to do, but baby, just stick to the girls. The girls they're gonna make it happen. Just stick to, the girls gonna make it happen for you, Shannon. The girls are gonna do their part, baby. Just leave the rapping alone. Leave the rapping alone. Hey, Miss Annette. Yes, I know, girl. That's definitely definition of ghetto love, giving baby boy vibes. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You missed it, Mr. Nick. I gotta run through my list. Okay. Let me run through my list for you real quick. Demekion Garlington, don't stop talking. They played some jail calls saying you can only listen to Demekion voice because the only thing that he say is evidence, but don't nobody know which one was Demekion. Apparently, YSL is a hybrid gang that jump on the people that is a part of the gang that's supposed to be connected with them. A slider is a car to use in a crime. I thought it was a burger from White Castles. Okay. Apparently, they was trying to get drones flown into the jail. And Shannon grandma, Miss Betty, ride or die. Okay. She's sliding with her grandson. Don't play with her. All right. Mootuk got word that it was an indictment coming down with 43 people, and he was telling them he was going off on them, and all they kept on saying was Mootuk was tripping. Polka and Shannon had they had an on again, off again relationship to the point where he could tell her he was going off hunting. Just remember to stay dangerous because it was a war. It was some type of war going on back and forth where people had to make sure they was on their P's and Q's. We saw Yak and Shannon's tattoos. Some people tattoos look like they was done in the kitchen, but it's okay. And just know if they going to slide, if one fight, we all fight. And if you don't fight, you might as well stay there with the people that we just fought because you can't come back with us. I hope that I think that sums up what we got today. I hope that helps, Mr. Nick. I don't know, Jasmine, but even Woody know. Woody knew. Besides the fact that we all falling asleep. Oh, we had an SB concert too. They played a lot of Shannon music. Let me write that down. SB was live in concert today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Woody knew too. But that's what happened. I ran through my notes already, y'all. Y'all must be behind. Well, Mr. Ned, I'm gonna say this. I think both Yak and Shannon gonna have to eat them gang charges. I think they have successfully proven that they were in a gang and possibly did criminal things. But I find it interesting that in Yak's case, he's already pled guilty to the gang charge. So if it is truly a double jeopardy for him because I don't feel like the other stuff apply. I feel like his other charges are trash. So I wouldn't be. I think he in a hella. Yeah, these hot chips got my mouth burning like a mud. He's in an unfortunate situation. It's 5 to 20 years for a gang charge, Jasmine. I think it's unfortunate because he already played when him and Duke got pulled over for going to slide after Duke got jumped in Magic City. He had already pled guilty to a gang charge. It don't say what gang, but he had a gang charge back then. And so I felt like the only thing that they've proven is just that he was in a gang, and now they want to charge him again just to tie it to a RICO. I think that's unfortunate. Yep. I mean, we went through some text messages of them basically trying to duck the wreck because it was getting hot out there in them streets. It was definitely getting hot out there in them streets. So them boys was trying to get out of Dodge. But when you look at the timeline, who wouldn't, right? You got literally in a week span, you got 4 or 5 people that's unalived. Homicides, 4 or 5 people. Or if they wasn't, and if it was, maybe it was 3 or 4. I want to say it was 4 people that was homicide that ended up in a homicide that week. And then you had a bunch of shootings. It was hot. They was hot as hell in Atlanta. They were trying to get up out of there. Regardless if they had something to do with it or not, they was being targeted. They have yet to identify that third core. Everybody and their mama think that third core though, but they have not identified. And I feel like that's why they went through the text messages with Boyer, because they're trying to put Boyer on that scene. Shannon is Mac's client. Yak is Doug's client. It has literally been 5 hours. I don't give a tuck. It has literally been 5 hours. But to me, that's the only thing that I feel like they've proven, that they were in a gang and that criminal things happen. We just taking a restroom break. And I feel like they attempted to show like organization and cohesion with the cause that they introduced today for the RICO, but where is the money, LaShondra? We have not started cross. Hilton still up there, unable to read the room. I should have got me some water. They tried it super backwards. They couldn't even but the thing is, if they put everything in sequential order, it don't look like what they want it to look like. So they got to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to confuse the jury with the hopes that they would put certain pieces together and others not. So here we go.
If so, let's go ahead and get them in. Let's get the witness back.
I thought they said Shannon was associated with 5'9". I didn't hear her say Jeffrey, but I could have missed it. I can go back a little bit later and see. I don't give a tuck. Baby, yeah, clean as a whistle.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Ms. Hilton.
Thank you, Your Honor. State would like to admit 430 VV, 434 VV, 511 VV, 512 VV, and 482 VV into evidence.
All right, admitted.
And then looking at investigative Rito 477 VV, 478 VV, and 529 VV, do you recognize those?
I do.
And how do you recognize those?
It's gonna be a post from Mr. Ryan's Instagram account, as well as CDs that should contain the video of his posts that he made.
And did those appear to be fair, accurate depiction of both the Instagram post of Mr. Ryan as well as the videos from his Instagram page?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time state would like to admit 478 VV, 477 VV, and 529 VV.
Admitted.
And permission to publish.
You may.
I'm going to start with 435 VV. And what Instagram post is this from?
Did it from Mr. Stilla's account?
All right. And looking at the picture, are you able to see the person posted?
Yes.
Okay. And are you able to tell who that is?
Mr. Stilla.
All right. And is he wearing a sweatshirt?
Yes.
And are you able to tell or read what the sweatshirt says?
It says slime, and then it's gonna define it. It's kind of blurred on this one. You can.
Okay. All right. Are you able to read it from the picture?
You're gonna have to zoom in a little bit more.
Okay. I think that might be the capabilities right there. Showing 436 VV. Looking at Stacy's exhibit 436 VV, is that from that same Instagram account associated with Mr. Stillwell?
It is.
And is that Mr. Stillwell in the picture?
Wix gives you the freedom to tell your story with a professional website that reflects who you are and what you have to offer. Customize every element of your website to meet your needs and achieve your goals. Create a unique visual experience.
And as we discussed earlier, the members of YSL sometimes use a lizard as one of their emojis.
Yes.
All right. Now, when you were pulling this Instagram, did you know what Mani Tumba de Pie drum meant?
I did not.
Did you do anything to see if you could determine what it meant?
Yeah, if you can see right here, you can hit the C translation button, and typically on Instagram, when you click that, it will translate anything that's not in the language that the majority of the post is in.
And did you do that in this case?
I did.
All right, I'm showing you what's been admitted as 436 VVA. And what did the translation translate to?
When you click the translation, the automatic translation from Instagram is going to generate a caption of peanut stone grave.
And does it have the same purple double emoji?
It does.
Okay. Now, when you were observing this on Instagram, did that post stay the same the entire time that you were observing it on Instagram?
It did not.
Okay. What happened?
I'd say it was up for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and the Spanish portion the post was edited to remove the Spanish portion.
If you could repeat your answer.
I'm sorry, it was up for about 2 or 3 minutes, and the portion of the caption that was in Spanish was edited to be removed. So the post remained, but the Spanish caption was taken off.
Now, one also published was already been admitted as 47 NN.
I'm trying to rob them.
Well,
Oh,
you
okay.
said 47 NN. Are you familiar with what's in 47 NN?
I am.
How are you familiar?
That's a video posted to Mr. Stillwell's account.
Okay. And is this one of the videos that you pulled as a part of your investigation?
Yes.
Right. Now, in looking at this video, are you familiar with the location where the video is filmed?
Yes.
What is it? How are you familiar with the location where the video is filmed?
Just for being familiar with the area, being out there.
Okay. And where is that location?
It was Cleveland Avenue.
Yep. So I basically have to talk over the video or mute it so that we don't get in trouble for it. So I apologize. We did listen to it during the evidentiary hearing. But I don't want to get a strike. We just got monetized over here. So I went ahead and muted it. I would say that Shannon did look like he had a little swag back in the day. Like he had a little swag. All right.
Now, in that video, were you able to see any actual snakes in that video?
Yes, there's one intertwined on Mr. Stillwell's YSL chain. It's like a smaller, like live snake in the chain.
And when you pulled this video, what, if any, significance did this video have for you when you pulled it?
The location, some of the imagery, the people involved, and the lyrics.
We talked about the location. What imagery was of significance to you?
The snake, the chain, things of that nature. The hand signs.
And then what, if any, lyrics were of significance to you as your investigation?
The lyric concerning drop top coupe, looking for who? Also, the ones involving me and my slimes were above the law. We don't walk into court at all. Wiping somebody's nose and sit in their family's face and smell it off.
Wiping someone's nose, had you heard that terminology before?
I have.
How have you heard that terminology?
It's used quite a bit, and I know what to mean to harm or kill someone. And also, the blue T-shirt I couldn't read, but you can read it on here in the definition of slime.
And what does it say?
The definition of slime on here is going to read: can't be trusted, a repulsive or despicable individual. Wipe your, pardon my French, fucking nose, and then it says, is you slime enough at the bottom.
So you recognize it on that sweatshirt, but also hearing inside of the song.
Correct.
Where the
Anything
cool
else
come
that's
from?
of significance in this song?
I did see Miles Farley and Quamorbius Nichols in the background of the video, as well as Winnie Lee.
Right. I'm going to now show you State's Exhibit 433 VV. Now, whose Instagram handle is this?
This would be do it for Phil _ associated with Miles Farley.
And do you see the picture?
I do.
And do you see a tattoo on the back of the person's neck?
I do.
And what does the tattoo say?
ESPN.
And again, is that the every slime play nasty?
Yes,
And is that Miles Farley?
it is.
And do you know him to have that tattoo behind on his neck?
I do.
All right. Now looking at State's Exhibit 479 VV. And looking at State's Exhibit 479 VV, if we can scroll in, is that Miles Farley?
It is. It is.
And do you see a tattoo on his arm, Rock Crew?
Yeah, right here on his upper right forearm. You're going to see the name Rock Crew.
And then looking at 432 VV. Do you see anything on his shirt? Any writing on his shirt, excuse me.
Yes, it says slime or die.
Now going to 434 VV. Who's depicted in 434 VV?
Mr. Kendrick.
Right. And what is he standing next to?
Graffiti that says slat.
And what, if any, color is he wearing, or what is he wearing?
A red bandana print t-shirt.
Now looking at 430 VV. Are you able to tell who's in that picture? Is that also Mr. Kendrick?
Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Williams.
Okay. And is Mr. Kendrick, what is he wearing?
A red bandana and a YSL diamond pendant with a red shirt.
And do you know where they are in this picture?
Here's the possibly Cleveland Avenue Park. It's hard to tell.
Looking at 511 VV. And is that Mr. Kendrick as well?
It is
And what is he holding?
a hat with a image of a rat crossed out.
And what color is the head?
Red.
Now looking at 512 VV. And looking at 512 VV, who is in the picture?
Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Arnold.
And who's posted the picture?
Mr. Arnold.
Right. And is there a caption?
Roll down the window. He running like Ricky.
And are there any emojis and hashtags?
With a running emoji, an eye emoji, hashtag Slack Gotti, hashtag Blue Devil with a snake emoji and a blue heart.
And in your investigation, did you learn if Mr. Arnold was a part of
The 2025 Kia Sorento, an impressive blend of capability, luxurious amenities.
And the Rolling 60 neighborhood Crips. Rolling 60 neighborhood Crips.
And did the Rolling 60 Neighborhood Crips have an alliance with YSL?
Yes.
And as a gang investigator, are you familiar with hybrid gangs?
I am.
Okay. And would this be consistent with the understanding of being a part of a hybrid gang?
It would.
I now want to publish States Exhibit 482 VV.
These boys was active on their music though. I mean, super active. Robin, I do think that they're going to stream the next trial. I also believe that she was colorblind. Rico somewhere racketeering. Somewhere racketeering. If they I actually agree with this. I would be surprised if we see the next trial any earlier in the earlier part of next year. I would be surprised. I would imagine that their trial wouldn't start probably until the later half of next year or 2026. Yes. Yes, y'all. She is really playing another song. All over the place. I don't think Jesus could fix this. Mm-hmm. I mean, but are the others in jail waiting the next trial? So everybody is in jail, from my understanding, except for two people. One, I can't remember his name, but he was the one who's they had did some crazy stuff with his attorney. He ended up getting out on bond. And then the other one is Justin Cobb. He's still on the run, but everybody else is arrested. Has been arrested. Yep, everybody locked up. Right. She said 2 hours. It's been all day. Baby, you need that's why we should have had court on Friday. Y'all should have had court on Friday. Hilton is still questioning. We waiting on that bomb to drop because clearly nothing exciting has gone on. All right, let me cut the sound back on.
I did.
Okay. What, if any, significance was this song to you as a part of your investigation in this case?
This song was a great showcase of the alliance between the Goodfellas and YSL. There was a couple of songs that they did together, but this was one of the ones where the video and the song were a good showcase of that due to who is present in the video, the lyrics, and some of the imagery.
And let's talk about the imagery. What were some of the imagery that you saw that showed the alliance between Goodfellas and YSL?
The hand signs, Mr. Greer is a prominent Goodfellas member. He's thrown up the YSL hand sign. the main singer, if you want to know, a rapper, is a gentleman by the name of Ricky Hill. He holds the rank of capo. When we talked about Frank Hubert earlier, he's a capo. Ricky Hill is another person in a leadership role with the Goodfellas. He goes by the name 24 Heavy. And he's kind of showing the alliance, letting them all be in the video with him. There's a gentleman named Eric Moore. He had a gray Audi that was on scene at 2830 Waters Road the night that we were out there. He's in the video as well. Mr. Kendrick, Mr. Wonnie Lee. So it's a really good representation of the alliance between the two groups.
And did you see any green flags in the video as well?
Yes, some will have they'll see around their wrists and things of that nature.
Now, you also talked about the lyrics. Why were they of significance to you in this song?
Because they're talking about a slime mob, combining the two terms slime. I actually talk about the Goodfellas go by mob, talking about play with oomp, somebody will get hogtied, knocking off your big homie, even his small fries, referencing some other incidents in the past.
All right. And did you also then pull some Instagram for Rodalius Ryan?
I did.
Okay, I'm going to publish what has been admitted as 478 VV. And is this one of the posts that you pulled from the Slime Business Rod account?
It was.
And it's who's depicted in the picture?
Rodalius Ryan.
And what does the caption say?
If you caught a case and the C's are going to be a purposeful misspelling with X's and stayed solid with the strong emoji, you deserve a bag emoji when you get home. Triple threat B emoji, free Psych and Quay, free Lil Bally, love ya.
And where are you able to tell where this picture is taken?
Appears to be in a correctional facility.
And was there any significance to you to the caption that is posted?
Talking about staying solid. If you catch a bag and if you catch a body, or if you catch a case and you stay solid, you deserve a bag when you get home. We've seen that theme throughout some of these social media posts throughout this investigation.
And what is your understanding of staying solid?
Not snitching, remaining quiet.
All right,
Oh.
I'm going to publish first 529 VV.
So exercising your right to remain silent is staying solid. Got it.
Fuck the fake, man. Yeah, man. Gang shit, man. You know what the fuck going, man. Yeah, man. Slime business shit, man. Man, happy birthday to me, man. Really mean everything to me, man. Shit on me for real. Can you get the only tattoo on me, man? Gonna spin again. Nah, for real, no cap. Nigga, slack, nigga. It been a minute since I suited up. It been a minute since I booted up. It been a minute since a minute had to flip it, 30 clear with extension, had to shoot it up. It been a minute and it bothered me. The dog got life sentence off of robbery. P10 Clark, better winning and it bothered me. I went in the streets, took a party. I went from on the road to a gangster. I went my own road because I'm see, we got the same stuff. Yeah, we got the same talk. Legal type, it don't even rain enough. We got my stain up.
And where does it appear that he is posting this video from?
A correctional facility.
Okay. Now publishing 477 VV. And did you hear it while we were waiting for that? In the video, the song saying, getting your stain up.
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard that term before?
I have
What is your understanding of getting your stain up?
staying or increasing your rank or status within the gang. Staying is your rank or status within the gang.
And in your experience as a gang investigator, what are some of the ways that gang members get their stain or get their rank up in a gang?
Typically in gang investigations, we look at it two different ways. There's hustling and there's banging. Hustling brings you money and proceeds towards the gang, and banging is acts of violence. So there's two different ways you can do it within the gang.
And would an example of maybe shooting at a police officer, would that be a way of getting stain up in the gang?
Sustained.
In your
Tried it.
experience, have you heard of gang members shooting at police officers?
I have,
Is that a way of getting stain in a gang?
yes.
Is murdering someone a way of getting stain in a gang?
Murdering, drive-by shootings, home invasions, robberies. There are several ways you can do it with the use of violence.
Yeah, man, free my nigga Big Brish, man. Yeah, man, live from Train Gang. Fuck that boy. Fuck that boy. Spank that baby. Yeah, man. Free my nigga Big Brish, man. Fuck the DA. And we catching the bun on this shit. Yeah, and we about to catch that bun, fuck nigga. We coming to get you. You know what it is. Yes, sir. That shit in the hood right here, free the gang. Yeah, YSL shit. That's the hood right here, son. Yeah. Slap Benny. Damn, man. Slap, man. Yeah, man, free my nigga Big Rich, man. By the way, the gang way. Big Rich with the big head, man. Okay. They gave my nigga a bun today, man. Smell me. YSL. YSL? They gave my nigga a bun today, y'all. Shit crazy. Right now.
And looking at that video, why was that significant for you to pull that video?
Well, first, he was in a correctional facility with a cellular phone, covering the news coverage of Mr. Eppinger receiving a bond for shooting Officer Rogers. And associating, talking about where that's the gang, that's the hood, throwing up the YSL hand sign, F the DA, things of that nature.
Now, were you involved with drafting the search warrant for the search of the home of Mr. Jeffrey Williams on May 9th, 2022?
Yes.
And how were you involved in the execution of that search warrant?
I was the affiant of the warrant that covered the body of Mr. Williams for his arrest, cellular devices, and gang evidence. I made, once entry was made by the SWAT team, I then arrived at the location.
And do you know if Phoenix was a part of that search?
It was.
And to your knowledge, do you know if SWAT announced entry before making entry into the home?
Yes.
Now, Investigator Viverito, when you were working at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, how did you notate the work that you did on this case?
The Fulton County District Attorney's Office, even though we do have a law enforcement component, doesn't have a traditional report management system like a police department where you enter reports or have a database where records are kept. So typically, to make sure stuff wasn't just stored on a hard drive or in an email, my affidavits and search warrants would be lengthier than usual or most that you would see, so that when they get filed with the clerk's office, something is memorialized, something for good, somewhere for good. So I know I did numerous search warrants that totaled hundreds of pages just to be all inclusive of the facts of the case, pretty much, to serve kind of as my report, because we didn't have a traditional report management system.
And to your knowledge, with this case, do you know how many search warrants you did or drafted?
Say at least 15.
Now I want to kind of transition slightly as we come to a close regarding gangs and guns. In your experience as a gang investigator, and investigating gangs, do you see in your experience gang members switching guns through various hands?
Yes, often.
Okay. And based upon your understanding, your investigation, can you tell the jury your understanding of why that happens within the gang? As a gang expert, are you able to enlighten the jury to your understanding as to why that happens in the gang?
I'm going to permit that.
Because if a murder is committed with a gun, you probably don't want to ever be caught with that gun or associated with that gun if you can avoid it. Sometimes they will trade the gun in whole, and maybe the person receiving the gun may not know what's been done with it. There are other times where you can take pieces of guns, such as Glocks, if they're the same make and model, you can take the barrel out and exchange it.
Sustained.
As a gang expert, have you seen individuals switch barrels of guns? And Your Honor, I can approach, we do have,
I'll permit that.
yeah. Have you seen that occur?
Yes, we've seen that happen.
Now, earlier, I believe you discussed how social media is kind of the new graffiti for the gang.
Correct.
And in the course of your investigation with YSL and YFN, were the social media posts that we've seen throughout your testimony some of the examples of what you were speaking of?
Yes.
What about music? How have you seen, as a gang expert, music promote gangs or promote gang violence in your experience?
Music is often used to promote gang violence.
Sustained.
Have you taken courses on gang music and gang culture?
Yes, I believe during the GGIA, one of the GGIA conferences I have.
And as a part of your investigation with gangs, have you listened to music associated with various gangs?
Y'all approach.
Because while she's trying to testify as a song, lyric, music, gang expert today, every day she get up here, she got a new role and responsibility added to her job title. Girl, if you just sat here and testified about how you translate lyrics into thing activity or promotion of thing activity, and now Hilton is insisting on driving in the fact that the songs are being used. Girl, for real. Because what is this trial stressing me out? The trial is stressing me out. Viverito is stressing me out. Hilton needs to rest. Like, give it up. Give it up. Like, it honestly seems like they are prolonging it. It's like she went over the weekend and added more questions. I know she didn't have all these questions last week. Jay, that's the thing. She created the certification. She is the owner of the classes. Who is fact checking her? Basically, they're saying that whatever that she says is gold because she's some type of expert that you've qualified for her to be, but she's really not a gang lyric expert, in my opinion. You're not a music expert. Now you want to talk about how silly kids are, how they post on the internet, and how y'all use what they post to figure out what they done did because they so silly with it. I can buy that. But girl, you're not finna dig into what type of music. You're not about to sit out here and just start throwing out new genres of music. and telling us that it's gang music. Girl, please. Paige need to shut it down. Paige need to say, look, get to the point and keep it moving. You've already, and that's my thing too. Like I saw, I don't give a took asked a question about why are they introducing this evidence to, for people who've already took pleas, because they want to still prove the enterprise, the organization, the cohesiveness, the things that other people are doing to promote this gang to, maintain its notoriety even behind bars, and you know what I mean. Like they've had the phone call, but they had the videos. Like I get it. Okay, we back.
As you sit here today, do you know if the beef between YSL and YFN is still continuing?
It is.
Course indulgence for a moment.
What? She packing up? Y'all, she packing. Look at Max. He ready to go. Look at Max. Even YSL Pawpaw even adjusted his seat, y'all.
No further questions.
Can we get a time check? Can we get a time check, y'all? It is 3:30, and Hilton has just finished her direct examination of Viverito. Doug is up first on cross. Let's get it.
Good afternoon, Investigator Viverito.
Good afternoon, Mr. Weinstein.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. As you know, I represent Mr. Kendrick.
Yes, I do.
All right. Let me ask you a few questions. Excuse me. Permission to approach, Your Honor? I'm going to show you DK16. Do you recognize the individual in that picture?
I do.
I'd like to admit DK16 into evidence. Permission to publish? In Exhibit DK16, who do you see?
Dwayne Carter.
And Dwayne Carter is also known as Little Wayne, right?
He is.
Okay. In the image that is on the right side of the two photographs,
Yes,
you see his arm there, correct?
I do.
Do you see ESPN on his arm?
I do.
And what do you maintain that the ESPN, or do you know what the ESPN on his arm stands for?
On him, since he's not a member of YSL, I couldn't tell you what that stands for.
But he is.
Hey y'all, Parker McCollum here. There's one thing I love as much as writing music, it's digging into some
Different things to different people.
So the ESPN on his arm could mean ESPN, the sports network, correct?
As not being a member of YSL, yes.
So if you're a member of YSL and you have ESPN on your arm, are you saying the only thing it could possibly mean is your interpretation of ESPN?
That's what I've seen it mean thus far with members of YSL.
And that's the only thing you believe it could mean?
As far as members of YSL, yes.
So the fact that my client was a football star at Grady. Okay. Do you know if my client played football at Grady?
I do now.
Do you know my client got a scholarship to University of Georgia as a football player? I'm asking if she knows it.
Sustained. You can ask if she knows whether it's true or not.
Do you know if my client got a scholarship to the University
I've
of
heard
Georgia?
that.
You've heard that. Okay. And so would you find it surprising that someone that got a football scholarship to the University of Georgia might like ESPN, the network?
I mean, they could like it, but I don't know if I'm sure he likes other TV channels also that aren't tattooed on him.
So if it's tattooed on you, it must mean ESPN, that you're a member of YSL. You just said that Dwayne Carter has ESPN on his arm, but he's not a member of YSL.
Sustained.
You just said that ESPN on Lil Wayne is not a YSL insignia, correct?
Correct. Like I could say, you can see a college sorority girl with a star tattoo on her, right? And then you can go down to the prison and see members of blood gangs with 5-point stars tattooed on them. It's going to have, we look at everything on an individual basis. So I can't make that determination. When it comes to YSL members, when you see ESPN associated with a YSL member, I have not seen it mean of anything other than every slime play nasty.
And you said you could see a sorority girl with a star on her, correct?
Correct.
And you could see a University of Georgia football player with ESPN on their arm too, correct?
Correct, but they're both not members of a blood gang or YSL.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo, can I get you to come up? May I approach again, Your Honor?
You may.
You got the DK15 video. Mr. Kokomo is going to show you a video. I just want to know if you recognize that video.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Doug got my blood pressure. He got it up.
Would you play a piece of that?
Can I stop for a second? Is that going to show my face on camera?
No, we're not going to.
Okay, I just
I'm
wanna
not
make-
gonna sh- I'm not
I
gonna show
just want to make
you.
sure.
I'm not going to show you.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Do you recognize that video?
I do.
I'm not going to publish this video, but I'd like to introduce DK15 into evidence.
Okay. It's admitted.
Okay, now I'm going to show you a still from the video.
Sure,
Okay, do you recognize that?
I do.
And do you recognize the individual in that?
That is me. I do.
Okay, okay. I am going to introduce DK15A. And it's redacted. Are you okay with that redaction?
No objection.
Okay.
All right, and that's a still from the video.
Yes, it's
Submitted.
DK15A. It's a still from the video, and it's been redacted to remove the image of Investigator Viverito.
Thank you. It's
Okay.
admitted.
Would you please publish DK15A? Okay. Who is in this still image from DK15?
That is me.
Okay. Do you recall when this was taken?
That was on March 9th of 2020. I'm sorry, May 9th of 2022
And where was it taken?
at 355 Allison Drive, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30342.
And whose home was that at the time?
The home of Jeffrey Williams.
And where in the home are you?
Should be the master bedroom closet leading to the bathroom.
And in the video that you watched, which I'm not publishing again because it has your image on it.
Correct?
What are you doing at that point in the video?
We're inventorying the jewelry and items that are in the home.
Okay. And is this image that is taken, that's part of your inventorying procedure in the home? Is that correct?
It's a documentation procedure, yes.
Okay. And do you recognize what you're holding in your hand in this still image?
I do.
And what are you holding in your hand?
A watch of some sort.
Okay. Do you know if do you recognize that as a Richard Mille watch?
I guess, yes.
And that's a pink watch, correct?
It's pink and either pink and light pink or pink and white. Yes.
It's a pink band, correct?
Correct.
And it has a white ceramic, I'll call it the body of the watch.
White. Yeah. I guess it's white if you say so. Yes.
Okay. After you took this image and you did this inventorying process, where did the watch go after this?
If you watch the video in its entirety, we're inventorying everything in the closet. There's a bunch of small boxes everywhere. So if you watch the video in its entirety, you take it and the watch is photographed like this, box is closed, it's taken and put up on the shelf in the upper left-hand corner, and the inventorying continues. And then jewelry starts getting packed up and getting ready for the evidence team to come and take it down to property.
Okay. Since November the 4th of this year, have you spoken to the state about this particular watch, the pink watch with the white band that I've been calling the Richard Mille or Richard Mille watch?
To the state, no, but I've seen the Twitter coverage of it going missing or whatever you want to.
Maybe.
Well, no, I mean, there's a camera in here. They know that it's being live streamed. You just are not supposed to be watching it.
Oh.
And you asked that in the evidence. So
Well,
just keep moving.
I wasn't watching the trial, but my name.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Just keep moving.
Okay.
Unless you need to approach about something else.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me, and I'd like to know about this. Tell me in the whatever coverage you saw, what did you learn about this watch that came up in this trial?
Sustained. Well, yeah, sustained.
Okay. So after this watch was inventoried and you left it for, I'm sorry, who did you say takes the watch after the inventorying process?
So if you watch the video in its entirety.
Which I can't show here, but
Right.
go ahead.
But if you watched it, like I watched it, the watch gets boxed back up and placed up on the shelf, and it gets left there by the team as as an accident. It was left there. The home was then turned over to Mr. Williams Sr. and Mr. Garfield Lamond to take possession of the home.
And is it the normal process when you're taking jewelry from the home or high valued goods that you leave behind a $500,000 watch on a shelf?
First, I don't know the value of it. Second of all, like I said, there were numerous jewelry boxes. It was, if you watch the video, everybody in there had on body cameras. I was made sure I was on camera at all times. There was cameras throughout the home. So you would be able to see if one of us removed a watch, the box remained in the closet. And like I said, the home was turned over to Mr. Williams Sr. and Mr. Garfield Lamond, who were the two people on scene that took custody of the home for Mr. Williams.
Okay, can we go back to my question?
Sure.
Sure. Is it the normal procedure to leave high-valued items behind when you're doing a search and then a seizure pursuant to a warrant?
Objection out of relevance.
It wasn't answered, Your Honor.
I don't know if there's necessarily a procedure on what you take or what you don't. Like I said, it got left behind. There were other things, like other items of evidence that I had asked to be taken, such as photographs and artwork that had relevance to this case that were left behind by the evidence team. It was quite a big operation. There was a hostile crowd gathering at the bottom of the driveway, so we were trying to speed it up to get out of there.
So are you telling me that law enforcement has no procedure with what you do with high-value items that are subject to a seizure warrant?
Objection out of relevance.
It's asked and answered at this point.
Okay. So the watch you say was left behind. What else wasn't done according to your instructions at the home that day?
I believe there were two pieces of artwork that were, one was Mr. Williams in a general uniform with snakes on his arm, and then one was Mr. Williams as like the Jesus at the Last Supper with all the people around him that I thought were relevant that were not taken. And like I said, it started to get pretty hostile out there, so we were trying to speed things up.
You said that there were many people with body cams in the
Correct.
home at the time. How many people approximately at the time of this raid of the home, let's call it that, were wearing body cams?
Almost everybody.
And did these body cams capture Mr. Kendrick within the home?
I believe they caught Mr. Kendrick running from the home.
That's not the question I asked.
They caught him outside of the home. I don't know how to better. I'm answering
Well,
your question.
it's either a yes, no.
No.
Is there body cam image of Mr. Kendrick within Mr. Williams' home?
The body camera image I saw was him running from the home.
Is there body cam image of
No.
Mr.
Answer
Williams
yes or no, and then you can explain.
in the home?
I haven't reviewed it, all of the entry team's body camera, but no.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick in Mr. Williams' home?
On that, by the time I arrived at the location, the entry was already made. So I did not, no.
You did not? Okay. Did you, there were approximately a half a dozen firearms found within the home, correct?
Correct.
Have you seen any images of Mr. Kendrick possessing any of those firearms?
I have not.
Have you seen any images of Mr. Kendrick near those firearms?
I have not.
There were drugs found in the home, correct?
Correct.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick with any of those drugs?
No.
Did you see Mr. Kendrick anywhere near any of those drugs?
No.
As far as you know, was Mr. Kendrick in actual possession of any of those drugs?
No, I wasn't there when they made entry.
Have you spoken to anyone? No, let me take that back. Did you speak to Mr. Kendrick at all at that time?
I did not.
Okay. As far as you know, did Mr. Kendrick have any of those drugs, as far as you know?
As far as I know, no.
And as far as you know, did he have any of those guns?
I just know he was in the home where they were located at some point that day.
Okay. Let's talk about the mob ties video for just a moment.
Yes.
So in that video, at the very end, right, we have Mr. Kendrick saying, excuse my language, saying, knock it off your big homie bitch, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall how many times that line was stated prior to Mr. Kendrick uttering that line at the very end?
Multiple.
And it was stated by 24 Heavy, Ricky Hill, correct?
Correct.
And I believe he states it 3 times, right?
Correct.
So Mr. Kendrick is just repeating a line that someone else has written or someone else has said. He's repeating that at the end, correct?
I'm not sure who the writing credits go to, but he did say it at the end.
He's not freestyling it in that it's never been heard before in the song, correct?
Well, it wasn't part of the song. At that point, the song had ended, and he yelled it.
But it had been said 3 times before in the song, right?
Right.
So you're aware there's post-editing that lines can be put into music after the song is recorded, correct?
Right, but the context of how he was saying it, the way he said it, wasn't going along with the song.
Ooh, this is interesting. Tell me about that.
It was after the song had concluded, and he kind of yelled it out with Miss Raven, and I forgot who else was with him.
How do you determine that a song has concluded?
The video, the way it's portrayed in the video, I didn't edit it. The way that it's portrayed in the video has ended, and he utters it at the end after the song is concluded.
So what training have you had in music to know, when a song is ended in a particular video, when there's an utterance after a song is ended?
Are you asking me how I know when a song ends?
Yeah, how do you know this in this video? Like you've had training and expertise that tells you when a particular rap song ends and then something is just blurted out afterwards?
I mean, I've listened to the song independent of the video, and that's not on the track.
But it's in the video, correct?
Right, but when the song concludes, it's not part of the track.
Can we put up, I don't know, which one of y'all are throwing up exhibits? Can you put up 512 VV? Yes. Mr. Atkins, thank you so much.
Doug chewing her ass out. He getting her.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. I should have told you that. So, thank you, though.
And we're not even gonna get the hurry, y'all, because I guess I could try and like whisper over the track so we can hear it. I want to get a strike, but I gotta do something in order for us to be.
Sorry, just give us a minute to get it up.
Go ahead, Max. Go on and slide him that note.
Okay. Okay. We'll talk about something just a moment while it's going to take a few minutes for this to get pulled
Okay.
up. Okay. We'll come back to it. I promise. Again, I'm going to go back to the closet, and I apologize for jumping around.
Sure.
When you're in Mr. Williams, did you call it the jewelry closet?
No, it was a closet where there was a jewelry and other things, money, other things were stored.
Okay. When you're in that closet, do you recall in that video that you mentioned how valuable that watch is when you pull it up?
I don't believe so.
I can play that for you so you can hear that.
You can. I don't. Yeah, if you'd like to.
I'll be careful.
Are we playing the video or just the audio?
I just want to do the audio, so I'm going to
Okay.
make sure we can get that done.
Well, that ought to not pose a problem.
I want to make sure we can technically do that without having an issue.
On it, okay.
Baby, so you didn't lie about knowing how much that watch
Just
costs?
play it from his laptop if that's an easier way to do it, as long as the jury can hear it.
Okay, can you turn it up?
Just put a mic next to your
Yeah,
speaker on
we can
your
do it from here.
laptop.
We can do it from here.
Baby, you in a rapper's jewelry closet. You mean if you think he got something fake in there? What you mean?
Ferguson good slings? All the way. All right, so much, so just so you know, all the cars, minus the Mustang, contain either thug or Gunna's name in there.
I'm not sure that's working. There's a lot of an echo there.
And there's
We'll just play it for you so you
Sure.
can see that. I just don't want to risk your image being shown.
I appreciate you, Mr. Weinstein.
If they didn't caught y'all witnessing a lie, baby. Look at Max.
All the cars, minus the Mustang, contain either thug or Gunna's name in there. One of the vehicles with one of the Porsches contain Winsburg and
I'm gonna put all the jewelry in this. We have an evidence bag.
You don't hear it in there?
I don't make that remark. No.
Okay. What was the first watch?
I made it, like you said, I made it about the first watch that made it to
Made about
evidence.
the first watch,
Yeah.
which was also a Richard Mille watch,
And
or Mill.
I don't
I don't know how to pronounce it. So you did make it about the first Richard Mill, just not the
That is
second
in
Richard
evidence.
Mill. Okay. But they're both Richard Mill watches, correct?
I mean, there were several There were several much more expensive pieces of jewelry that were there also. And this is not my first case with a lot of expensive jewelry.
Did you get it? Hold on, Mr. Atkins. Oh, great. Thank you. Okay. Let's go back to 512 VV for just a moment.
Okay.
Look at would you read that line below again about running like Ricky?
Yes.
And what is the import of running like Ricky?
It's from a movie,
And what movie is that from?
Boys in the Hood.
And what's happening to Ricky in Boys in the Hood that running like Ricky has become a meme?
He's getting gunned down in a drive-by shooting,
And what's he doing when he's getting gunned down?
running.
And he's running down an alley, correct?
Yes.
And he's running at a pretty good clip away from the vehicle that is shooting him with a shotgun, correct?
Correct.
Okay. He's not standing on a sidewalk, right?
I didn't insinuate that.
Sorry?
I didn't insinuate that.
No, I didn't say you did. I'm just
Okay,
asking
yeah,
you a
no.
question.
He's running.
Okay. And he's running directly away from the shotgun that's coming out of a car to shoot him, correct?
Correct.
Okay. This picture here of I guess it's Duke, it's Martinez Arnold, correct?
Yes.
And Diamante Kendrick. This is from June 23rd, 2020, correct?
Correct.
And that is approximately 5 years and 5 months after the killing of Donovan Thomas.
Yes, this picture was more so of importance to me to show the alliance between the Crips and YSL.
Oh, that's right. That's a hybrid gang, right?
Correct.
Okay. And a hybrid gang is kind of like a nose of wax, right? It's something that you can twist and pull so that any type of characteristics that you find can meet the definition of a gang, right?
That's not true.
It isn't true. Why wouldn't that be true?
For example, this hybrid gang with Mr. Arnold, this came about when Mr. Keith Troop died and Mr. Williams gave the eulogy at Mr. Keith Troop's funeral. And if you listen to Mr. Kitchens, he tells the story about how Mr. Williams was put in charge to take care of Mr. Kitchens and guide him. And he's the one that kind of took them under their wing, and it was okay. And Mr. Williams was the first one to cross color lines when it came to gangs here in Georgia. And they were first uneasy with that, but Keith Troop explained to them, no, it's okay. This is something we do now. So that's an example. And the Department of Justice defines hybrid gangs as a gang member's participation in multiple gangs, vague rules and code of conduct, gangs or different gangs collaborating together to commit crimes. And there's several other definitions, but it's not just something I made up. The Department of Justice defines it too.
No, I know. And what I'm trying to understand from you is I've seen multiple gang experts come in here and talk about definitions of gangs and definitions of hybrid gangs. And it just appears that if a group of individuals don't fit your definition of a gang, that they automatically get classified as a hybrid gang. I'm asking a question about hybrid gang.
Well,
can you explain what a hybrid gang is?
yes, it's
Yeah.
I gave you part of it. It's traditionally a neighborhood gang or local gang that tries to take on the identifiers of a traditional gang. Like I'm from New York. The gangs in New York are much more structured. The gangs in LA, Chicago are much more structured. I apologize for New York. The gangs are much more structured here in Georgia. You'll see there are neighborhood cliques that will adopt the identifiers, like YSL, for example, adopted the identifiers of sex, money, murder. They were sex, money, murder based in the beginning, but then Mr. Williams decided to do his own spin on it. Like I said, when he was very close to Keith Troop, when he was deceased, or prior to that, like I said, if you watch, there's history about it where Mr. Kitchens talks about he was sent to go help out Mr. Williams at one point. And at first he was uneasy, like, oh, do we do this? And he said,
Slow down also.
Yeah,
It's
just-
sustained,
yeah.
take your sake.
and that's,
I'm trying to understand without giving examples. If you can define hybrid gang.
it is a neighborhood gang that takes on pieces of traditional gangs. And like I said, you'll have individuals from different gangs working together. You will have the mixed use of identifiers, like we've seen through the presentation of evidence here, like here, this snake and the blue heart for the Crips. Vague rules and code of conduct. Sex, money, murder, bloods have a rank structure. I don't know a rank structure within YSL. So they take pieces of what they like and they put their own spin on it, but are still backed by a traditional gang.
So a traditional gang would have a hierarchy, correct?
Correct.
But you, according to I believe the testimony we've heard, YSL as a gang doesn't have a hierarchy.
They don't have, but the Goodfellas, for example, they have.
I'm asking, let's go back to my question.
Right.
What YSL?
Right.
The witness to be able to explain her.
Well, the answer wasn't responsive to my question.
Overruled. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. YSL does not have a hierarchy as a traditional gang does, correct?
They don't have a set of leadership like roles, no.
Okay, so in that sense, they wouldn't fit into the definition of a traditional gang.
But they're still welcomed by members of the Sex, Money, Murder, Bloods.
Can you just answer my question?
Yes.
Okay. So my question was, they don't fit into the definition of a traditional gang.
Correct.
So instead, they get slotted over to this catch-all category of hybrid gang, correct?
I wouldn't call it a catch-all, no.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Weinstein.
Yo, Doug just annihilated the whole gang
Let me
hybrid
just ask
gang
y'all
theory.
a scheduling issue.
What is a gang, y'all? What is a gang? Because at this point, she don't know what a gang is, and we just giving YSL names just to give them a name. What is a gang? Bro, what is a gang? Oh my God, that was Doug just did an amazing job. He did an amazing job. He took apart her ESPN, all right, because not only are y'all sitting here trying to paint a picture of Yak like he's just this big bad criminal, homeboy had a scholarship. Okay, Maurice got the mic back on.
Actually, can you give me just 1 second?
Okay, y'all. I'm gonna get my little words out before Max get up here to the podium, because as we can see, he's getting ready to do his crossy cross. But Doug annihilated the ESPN theory. He killed that. Okay, turned around, asked her what a watch is. She's sitting up here acting like she don't know how much the watch costs. She don't know what the watch is, but you didn't already priced or said something about the price of the other watch, and it's the same brand. Baby, talking about you saw other more expensive things than that, so you just up there on the stand line. He didn't prove that you a liar on the stand. And then he asked her, was Yak in that house? Was Yak by them guns? Was Yak by them drugs? Do you have any proof that he was ever in possession of any of these things? I gotta remember, Yak is charged with possession of these things for being at Jeffrey's house when they in fact caught him outside. Okay. Her whole tone switched up. She had a whole attitude with Doug.
Riverito, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shard.
Good afternoon. Okay. Let me just start off with something that you said on direct. When did you start working on this case with the DA's office?
I'm trying to think. I got to probably fall of 21, maybe.
Fall of 2021. And in fall of 2021, when you started working with this case with the DA's office, you were in the section or in the working group with under ADA Love, correct?
No.
Okay, who were you under?
Kara Conberry was the deputy district attorney at that time.
All right, and with the DA's office, eventually, you're not with the DA's office now.
Correct.
Okay, but with the DA's office, you worked on this case, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you worked under Kara Convery. Who else did you work under?
Well, she wasn't on the case, but for the case, I worked under Don Geary.
Don Geary. Okay. All right. Now, in your testimony over the last few days, you've spoken about the work that you did on this case with the district attorney's office.
Correct.
And you've given us your opinions about certain things that you learned through your work at the district attorney's office, correct?
Some, I don't know. I don't think I've given many opinions.
Okay. As part of your work with the district attorney's office, you reviewed surveillance videos.
Correct.
Okay, you drafted affidavits for search warrants.
Correct.
You collected evidence from Jeffrey Williams' house.
Correct.
You collected social media posts
Correct.
from various people.
Correct.
You reviewed Mr. Stillwell's phones.
Correct.
You've reviewed music, in this case, by various artists.
Correct.
Okay. In fact, today, I guess you reviewed a video to make a determination of what type of gun is in a picture, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All those things that you did, and there were other things that you did with the DA's office, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you testified that you were asked by Ms. Hilton, how did you notate your work on this case? And then you said that you talked about your search warrant affidavits, that you make them thorough.
Correct.
Okay, but search warrant affidavits aren't memorandums, are they?
No.
Okay, they're not police reports, are they?
No.
Okay. And your explanation, you don't have reports written for the work that you did in this case as a district attorney, with the district attorney's office, do you?
I have, I think, one or two that were written as memorandums, but other than that, no.
Reports about when you were collecting social media posts?
No.
Got any reports on that?
No.
Okay, about whose addresses you were looking at and whose you weren't? Do you have any reports on that?
What do you mean by addresses?
Instagram addresses or Instagram, which people that you were following on Instagram, which people you were looking at their Instagram, what dates you were looking at their Instagram. Do you have reports about that?
No, but they were compiled and each date that they were looked at were noted on the photo.
Okay, so we're just supposed to look at the stuff that you compile and bring to court, and that's good enough to let us fill in all the work that you did.
Objection, argument.
Just take your word for it?
It's cross, I'm going to permit it.
I mean, I'm here to explain it.
Okay, well, that's fine, but,
Right.
you know, what if we want reports? Do you have
I
reports?
said, the DA, now I work at a different facility. When I worked at the GBI, we had a reporting system. The DA's
Okay.
office doesn't have that. So I would, in my affidavits, make them as lengthy. When you see an affidavit of mine, it's pretty lengthy for a reason.
Okay, well, I didn't ask about your search warrant affidavits.
Right.
I'm asking about reports and memorandums right now. Okay, and you seem to be saying, well, there was no record-keeping software with the district attorney's office that you could memorialize the work you did.
Correct?
Okay, they don't have a typewriter, they don't have computers, they don't have Microsoft Word, they don't have a pad of paper, they don't have pens, they don't have pencils. Is that what you're saying?
They do.
Okay. But you just didn't write any reports about any of this work that you've been testifying over the last 3 days that you did.
I don't really know anybody that would write a report saying, on this date, I screenshotted this picture. On this date, I screenshotted this picture. That's not really a report. That's not an event I would write a report for.
Well, what if I want to know exactly what Instagram addresses, what individuals that you looked at on Instagram and which ones you didn't, which ones you checked out what they were posting and which ones you didn't? How would I know if you don't write a report?
Well, if I looked at them, the name would be on the post. And if I didn't, there wouldn't be a picture.
Okay, so again, we're just going with what you say happened years later based on the evidence that you bring into court.
I compiled my findings into a folder and provided it as part of the case file.
Okay. And you didn't write any reports about the work that you were doing in real time, did you?
Regarding, there's a report for Waters Road. And the rest of the investigation, like the investigation into the stabbing of Mr. Bennett, can be found in pretty lengthy affidavits.
So you wrote a report for Waters Road?
I did.
Were you at the DA's office at that time?
I wrote it on a piece of paper. It was a Word document.
So you were able to make a Word document about that work, just not the other work that you did, like when you were reviewing my client's phone, like when you were collecting things off of social media, like when you were reviewing surveillance videos. You couldn't write reports for those matters.
Today, with a report management system, I wouldn't write a report for screenshotting social media or reviewing a phone. I traditionally put together a PowerPoint or a visual presentation for trial.
Okay, I didn't ask what you traditionally do. I asked what you did do and didn't do.
But that's what I would do that's what I did back at the DA's office, is what I'm telling you. I would do that today with a report management system as I did without one. Those things are not responding to Waters Road. I wanted to make sure it's better suited to put it in an affidavit because it's memorialized in the clerk's office. Systems can get hacked, hard drives can get lost, things can get deleted, files can get lost. So I prefer to anything that's noteworthy, make sure it's memorialized somewhere.
Things can get lost. That's your explanation? You can't lose something if you don't make it, can you?
Which is why anything regarding my investigation is probably in an affidavit that I've wrote hundreds of pages.
Probably in an affidavit?
If you would give me a case that you're specifically referring to, I can give you an example.
In your affidavits, I would like you to show me an affidavit for a search warrant where you list all the Instagram addresses and people that you checked out in March 2022 when you were pulling their posts. I want to know everyone that you searched.
That was served to you in a discovery folder.
Okay. I have the posts.
Correct. So that's all of them.
All right. I'm not asking for the posts. I'm asking for a list of the people that you searched for.
If you look in the folder, you will see the list of people I searched for.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Mr. Stillwell, you have known him since 2012, is that correct?
Approximately, yes.
He was about 17 at the time?
If that's what the math dictates, then yes.
Okay. You know him to be from the Thomasville area of Atlanta, correct?
When I would encounter him, he would be more in the Mechanicsville area.
Okay, fair enough. You know him, and you know personal information about him, correct?
Such as?
You know that he was raised by his grandmother, Betty Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, and you know Betty Jackson is the mother of his biological father.
Correct.
And that's where the Jackson comes from.
Correct.
And the Stillwell comes from his mother.
Correct.
And you know that his mother has never been a part of his life.
Correct.
You know that she was a very bad drug addict.
Objection relevant, Your Honor?
It's going to explain communications on the phone.
All right, overruled.
And you know that she's now deceased.
I know that she's deceased. I don't know the circumstances.
Okay, you know that, and Betty Jackson raised Mr. Stillwell, and you've met Betty Jackson before?
I have.
Okay. And you identified her voice on the jail phones.
Yes.
And also in your review of his phone, the extraction of his phone.
Yes.
You saw her number under the name Boss Lady.
Correct.
Okay. You know Mr. Jackson has a 9th grade education, correct?
I do not know that.
Okay. Do you know him to be a high school graduate?
I don't know that.
Okay. As far as his occupation, as far as you've known him, you know, let's be real for a second. You've reviewed his phones.
Correct.
Okay. You saw mentions of drugs, weed, pills in his phones.
For sale, yes.
Okay, for sale, right. Okay. there was indications in his phone that in 2022 he was selling drugs.
Correct.
Okay. And also in his phone, you saw substantial evidence of his aspirations to become a musician, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You've seen social media posts with him and Wooney Lee at the studio.
Yes.
You've seen social media posts where he hashtagged his upcoming projects.
Yes.
You've seen, you saw on YouTube that short video Slap Talk, correct?
That was on his Instagram profile, but yes.
Okay. Did you note at the time that you captured that Instagram post with the song, how many views it had?
I did not.
Would you dispute that it was 17,000?
I don't know, so I have no way to.
All right. And you also observed in his phone his communications with other individuals that were rapping, correct?
I mean,
You saw communications with Wooney Lee.
with Moni Lee, yes.
Okay. And you saw different references and conversations about renting studio time
Correct.
in his phone. Even we're talking about in March 2022, on March 8th, for instance, there was a discussion about him going to the studio.
Sure.
March 9th, going into the 10th, discussion with Wooney Lee about going to the studio. The Yo is what they call it, correct?
Correct.
Evening of March 10th, discussion of going to the studio run by Mook Tovin.
Correct.
And you know Mook Tovin to be someone who runs a studio, correct?
Producer of some sort, yes.
And you saw the evidence of, you see file transfers on those dates from Mook Tovin and other people transferring audio files.
Correct.
Okay. And that's consistent with someone making music in the studio and then their work being transferred to them at the end of the night by the studio engineer.
Sure, yes.
Evening of March 11th, discussions with Wooney Lee about going to the studio.
Yes.
March 12th, booking a session at the studio.
Yes.
The evening of March 14th, your investigation, and I know that, and we're going to talk about 10 o'clock and Windsor Street, but later on in the evening, talking about midnight, your investigation revealed that Mr. Still was in the studio.
Yes.
In fact, he when people were looking for him, he informed his grandmother that he was in the studio.
I don't know if I remember that, but I know he did after the murder of Shamel Drink. They were at the studio. Yes.
Okay. So, and you've observed some of Shannon's music.
I have.
You've observed a lot of music in your profession.
I have.
You observe a lot of music. Let's just
I
put
have.
it that way. You're familiar with drill music, correct?
Yes.
Drill music is something that extends beyond Atlanta.
It does.
It's worldwide, correct?
I know throughout the U.S. I'm not too familiar with it internationally, but yes.
Okay. Common themes of drill music, brutality and violence.
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay. Who's the baddest? Who's the toughest? Who's the most powerful?
Correct.
A lot of bragging.
Correct.
Okay. Claims about women, about who gets the most women. Is that a recurring theme?
Yes.
Bragging about the guns people own and carry.
Yes.
Okay. Bragging about how much money people have.
Yes.
Bragging about homicides, whether it's true or not.
Some.
Okay. It's a type of music, and whether you like it or not, and I'm not suggesting you like it, and I'm not suggesting I like it, but it glorifies violence.
I don't know if I would use the term glorifies because there are a number of drill rappers that have been charged with homicide.
Okay.
or engage in violent acts. So I don't know if it glorifies. There's two sides. It can glorify it, and it can also tell the story. So there's two different sides to it.
Okay. So one side, you know people that are in drill music that have been charged with crimes.
What I'm saying is, music of that you're describing often feeds into violence.
Okay. And you don't like that, do you?
I don't.
You
I
feel
don't like
that-
anybody getting hurt.
Okay. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You feel it feeds into violence. Okay. And what I'm asking though is when you said it glorifies, you said, I know some people who are in drill music that have been charged with crimes.
Correct.
Okay, and you also know a lot of drill music where people claim they did this and claim they did that.
Correct.
And it's not always factual.
No, but being a drill artist doesn't negate the fact that you engage in violence.
Okay, you may.
It could go either way, but being
Right.
a drill artist doesn't negate that fact.
That's fine. Okay. Common terms in drill music, ops,
Correct.
stands for opposition.
Correct.
And that is a recurring theme that you almost hear in every song. Isn't that fair to say?
In every song and almost every investigation that I work, yes.
Okay. And if we, and we're not going to do it, but if we Google and get on YouTube and type in rap ops, we'll see dozens of songs with ops in the title,
Correct.
including by well-known artists.
Correct.
All right. Glizzies. Glizzy is a term that comes up a lot in drill music, correct?
Correct.
It's a gun.
Yes, but I don't know if I've heard that used that much by these folks that we investigated with this.
I'm just
Yeah,
talking about.
it does. Guns do come up, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's in one of Shannon's songs,
Okay.
Lizard Walk.
Okay.
Okay, and that's another term that comes up a lot in drill music.
Glizzy, Blick, Phi, whatever you want to call it.
Red light. It's another one comes up a lot in drill music, correct? Red lights.
I don't hear that as often, no.
Okay. You ever hear the song "Red Light" by Future?
I have not.
You heard the lyrics? Yeah, and this shit real out here running through the red light, looking through your rear view and might just sneak up on the car and try to spray you. You hear that? Heard that lyric?
No, but if Mr. Wilburn would have engaged in a homicide at a red light, I probably would have looked into it.
Okay. I didn't ask anything
Well,
about a homicide or Mr. Wilburn. I asked if you heard the lyric.
But yes,
Okay,
but
well,
it
I'm
was something I
just-
would look at.
Okay. Chalk. Chalk you out, chalk them up. Slime and chalk. Those are
Slime and chalk, I'm familiar with, yes.
all right. Those are things that you would hear in drill music, correct?
Slime and chalk, I've heard. The others, I don't know if I've heard.
All right. We heard 5 songs by Mr. Stillwell. Okay.
Yes.
And they were let's see, Slat Talk, Ran This Money, Bullshit, Lizard Walk, and Red Light.
Yes.
And all those songs, you have identified Mr. Stillwell, and they were in Mr. Stillwell's phone.
Correct.
Okay, and just to be clear, there were other songs in Mr. Stillwell's phone as well.
Correct.
Okay, so we heard 5 of all the songs that Mr. Stillwell had in his phone.
Correct.
And do you know, outside of his phone, how many other songs Mr. Stillwell has made?
I know through the years I've seen him make a few, but I couldn't give you a number.
Okay. Now, with those songs, do you know when they were written?
No, and on direct, I said I can only see the date that they were added to the device.
Right, and you don't, and let's just be clear, the date that they were added to the device was 3/17. There was some sort of file transfer according to the report
Correct.
on 3/17. You don't believe that on the morning of 3/17 he was in the studio making all those songs?
Not to say that one or two of them couldn't have been made in the days prior, but I I can't give you exact dates on them.
Okay. So we don't know when they were when they were made. Do we know when they were written?
No,
Do we know who wrote the lyrics?
we don't.
Okay. And in fact, on one of the songs, Red Light, it says featuring Vito, correct?
Correct.
Veedo.
Correct.
You know Vito to be a songwriter, not an artist, a songwriter for 300 Entertainment, correct?
He could be, yes.
Um, okay. Some of these songs that we heard have the typical ops, red light, glizzy, homicide, typical things that are hallmarks of drill music, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, also, in one of the songs, Mr. Stillwell makes reference to his bankroll, right?
Correct.
Okay. Bankroll is the amount of money you have,
Correct.
the wad of cash.
Correct.
All right. And he's bragging about his bankroll.
Correct.
Okay. And that's what he's saying. That's what he's releasing to the public through this song.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Stillwell, do you know him to own a car?
No.
Do you know him to own a house?
No.
Do you know him to be independently wealthy?
I mean, sometimes, yes. He has a lot of money on him.
Okay. His bankroll, is that something that artists often talk about, their bankroll and how big it is?
Sometimes, yes.
Is that always true, that the artists that are bragging about their bankroll is really as big as they're claiming it is in their songs?
That's an individual basis.
Okay. Could it be, you ever heard the term, like my son says it all the time, cap? Like just made up, cap.
It could be, but that's not necessarily the case with Mr. Stillwell Jackson.
I'm asking if you've ever heard the
Yes,
term.
I have.
Okay. And artists cap on songs all the time, don't they?
Some do, some
Okay.
don't.
And Mr. Stillwell, in his songs, was claiming that he had a bankroll.
And he did sometimes. Yes, he did sometimes.
Well, on the phones, you reviewed his phones.
Correct.
You saw him basically begging Miss Alexander to give him $1,500.
But if you listen to the March 16th wiretap call, he talks about all the money he had,
Okay.
and he didn't want to go to jail with all that money. So he had a lot of. It fluctuates from day to day. So I don't know. Some days he has a bankroll. Some days he has no roll. So
Okay. Did he have a bankroll? Do you know if he had a bankroll the day he recorded that song?
do not.
Okay. Could that have been Cap?
Could have been. He could have been reminiscing about when he had his bankroll.
Okay. In these songs, while we're talking about Cap, let's see. Mr. Stillwell referred to himself as Big Slime.
Yes.
Okay, you ever hear anyone else refer to Mr. Stillwell as Big Slime?
I'm trying to think. He's been referred to as Big Slime and Life-Size Lizard.
Right, that's what he calls himself.
He's also referred to as that. I've heard him.
Okay. So he was claiming to be Big Slime in
Correct.
the song that he wrote or performed. Okay. Then we got, let's see, Dolly White in one of the songs. Bullshit, right?
Dolly, yes.
She brags about making $201K in a day.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know, is there any evidence that you have that on that day that Dolly White was claiming that she made $201K that day, that she actually made $201,000 that day?
I wouldn't know what day it is to be able to tell you. She could have been on Instagram or somewhere bragging about having 200K. So without knowing the day, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that Dolly White, I'm not talking about Jeffrey Williams, I'm talking about Dolly White, has ever made $201,000 in a day in her life?
I couldn't tell you what Miss Greer makes.
Could that have been Cap?
It could, but it also could not have been.
So, we talked about the lyrics on Direct. In these songs, Mr. Stillwell never mentioned an infinity,
No,
never mentioned Diamante Kendrick,
no,
never mentioned Demise McMullen or Nard,
no,
never mentioned Justin Cobb or Doo-Wop.
no.
He mentioned being arrested for a homicide and beating it.
I don't want. I'm going to tread lightly on it. I don't know. Can I get some direction on? how to
He said
approach-
I made
Okay,
a
but I just
murder
want to
rap.
make sure I'm approaching it correctly. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'll ask a very targeted question.
Okay.
He mentioned on Slat Talk, I beat a murder rap.
Yes, he did.
Paid my lawyer $30 for that.
He did mention that.
Okay. He also mentioned beating a homicide on another song, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have, the fact is that Mr. Stillwell, he's on trial for that here today. At the time he wrote those lyrics, he had never beaten a homicide.
That's a real slippery slope to explain that. I don't want to say some. If I can get some.
He had never been cleared or went to trial and was found not guilty of a homicide.
Yes.
Yes.
It is simple. The rap is Cap, boo. The rap be Cap. Everybody be capping. And you out here trying to act like you crossed your T's and you dotted your I's, but we finding out that you didn't even do your homework. You probably didn't even show up for class, boo. The way you ain't got no notes. Because Max didn't put your whole practice, your whole investigation in a questionable pile. The entire thing is questionable at this point. You're not logging or tracking nothing. You just getting online, going to this person, going to that person, post, screenshotting it, printing it out, and putting it in a folder. On top of the fact that you feel like you know everything. You know that drill music talk about all of the things that he said that, you know, all the different things that you claiming these boys are doing. Yeah, you don't understand that it's cap and rap. Girl, what? Just because you rap about it don't mean that you're doing it. And it was a very simple question that he asked you. While you out here looking for direction and clarity, Hilton ain't at the podium, boo. She can't help you right now. Hilton ain't up there. You gotta put your big girl drawers on because Max up there. Max up there now. And he said very clearly, did Shannon beat a rap charge when that song was out? Did he beat it? Yes or no? That's a very slippery slope. What do you mean? What you about to slide down? You probably about to slide down the wall. That's what you about to go home, go in the bathroom, and slide down the wall because they didn't caught you lying on the stand twice already. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Come on now. What's going on, chat? It's a whole lot of speculation. Because Max is asking, why is what you say the end all be all? Why don't you have anything for anybody to check up behind you? Hilton was leading her the entire time. The entire time. Answer the question. She want to give a backstory to everything. Ooh, the jury about to leave.
We need the witness. I need the witness.
And you need the witness. Hi, Connie.
The witness is walking back.
Okay, baby, because it looked like you was the last person to handle it. It looked like you was the last person to handle that watch. Where that watch at? Not at the
So,
moment.
Mr. Shart asked you a very specific question, and you seem to have answered in a way that surprises everybody. So we need to get some clarity from you. Okay, so can you listen really carefully to what his question is and answer that question? And then if your answer is still the same, we need to ask some follow-up of you. I mean, okay, go ahead.
In the songs that we reviewed, Mr. Stillwell claimed to have beat a homicide, correct? Or beat a
Correct.
murder rap, beat a homicide.
Correct.
Okay. Did he in fact beat a murder rap or beat a homicide, as he claimed?
I think he,
Go ahead and explain it now because the jury's not in here.
Yes,
We're just
here.
trying to sort out what
I
it
think
is.
from my understanding of Mr. Stillwell back in that time, he was under the impression that the Donovan Thomas case had been, that they were going to beat it. Like they were about to beat it or it was beat or it wasn't going to be an issue. I didn't want to say that because I didn't
Well,
know.
that's good that you didn't
Yes.
say that, but that's not the question that he asked
I'm
at
not
the
asking what
time.
Mr. Stillwell thought. I'm
Okay.
asking-
Yeah. Then no.
So listen
Okay.
very carefully to what he actually, I mean, that's not what he asked a minute ago, but you don't have like knowledge that nobody else has that he was tried for some
Oh,
other
no, no, no.
murder and got a hung jury or an acquittal,
No,
right?
Your Honor. I just wanted
Okay.
to make sure.
So if Mr. Shart asks you, has he ever beaten one, and by beaten, I mean, gotten an acquittal or however he phrases it, what would your answer be then?
No, I just didn't know
Okay.
the specific outcome of if it was.
Has he
Dismissed
even
and
been
reinvested?
tried for
No,
another murder?
he has
Okay,
not
so
been
don't
tried.
say, I don't know the specific outcome if he has never been tried for one other than the one he's on trial for right now, okay?
Yeah,
You understand?
I just thought, I didn't know if he meant it was dropped. That was all, Your Honor.
That's not what was asked.
But that's not what he just asked right here, Your Honor. And
I
think
know
that's
that.
the-
I know that.
And I think that's the clarity that needs to be had, because at the time, Mr. Stillwell was on bond for the murder. And so
That is not anywhere near what he asked. He
Yeah.
asked, has he ever been tried for and acquitted of murder? Being given a bond before a trial ever occurs does not a yes answer for, has he ever been tried and acquitted?
right, but even the question he just asked right now was not that direct.
I know,
question.
that's
So
because,
that's the-
I know, but just now what he asked, we're just trying to figure out what it is she might mean. And are you then gonna ask?
I'll ask about the bond next.
Okay. So if he asked about bond, then you can answer
I-
whatever you know about whether he was released on bond.
I can be
okay?
respectful of his rights, Your Honor. That's all.
Okay. Is anybody need any more clarity on,
I definitely do, because I think on redirect, I think
okay,
it becomes very relevant to ask the witness, at the time he wrote those songs, is it, based on everything that you know and speaking to him and other people, that did he believe he beat the murder?
I would not let you ask that because how on earth can she know what is in his head? I could ask it, but I would overrule it if if objection were made.
I understand, Your
And
Honor.
you point that, if that is in evidence, then you point that out in closing argument.
I think we will put them in now. Okay.
Well, you'll have to make a decision, each of you, as to how you're going to present your case, or. All right. Do we have clarity now?
I think I'm clear. Yes, I'm clear.
You're going to answer first a direct question about whether or not he's been tried or convicted. You're going to ask that direct question first, and then you're going to ask about the bond. Okay.
And then, I mean, Mr. Abadi, you suggested that you might then introduce evidence that he said what were you saying?
Well, I think I have to find the call, but I think that creates the questions on redirect that then can be asked is, at the time that he wrote those songs, had he been on bond for a number of years? He makes all of that very relevant as it relates to like diving into why he said that in the lyrics of the song. But I think the whole point of this is a very slippery slope, because we begin to talk about things that I don't necessarily we all want to get into as it relates to objections and objections for mistrial, because all of these questions allow us to then ask on redirect the specifics as it relates to when he made the song and being released on bond, things of that nature. That you can argue as to the belief as to why he believed he beat the murder, because it had been 3, 4, however many years. So he had not.
Well, you can ask that had he been on bond 3, 4, however many years. What you cannot ask this witness is, so then do you think he believed he beat it? I mean, that is something that this witness can't testify to, that I know of. If you have some reason to believe you think she can testify to that. But I mean, if it's just, oh, I can put 2 and 2 together, he'd been out for 17 years on bond and not been, tried yet, then that's something that is not beyond the ken of any juror, and you can argue that in your closing, but you can't ask this witness that question, okay?
Yes.
Everybody clear now?
Yes,
Okay. All right, we'll get the jury back.
Okay, so there was a question about
How long is there going to be like a natural stopping point? I mean, I don't mind keeping them till 6.
There'll be a natural stopping point,
Okay,
and
cool.
and I'll be.
If we do that, we have 5 minutes
Right now?
recess, just 5 minutes. All right.
Yes. Yes, we can, because I don't want to break yet again if we're going to go for another hour or so.
Okay, so there was a question about if that could have warranted a mistrial. I want to say it was from I Don't Give a Tuck. So in the event that she sat there on the stand and basically said that like he beat another murder rap or something like that, it could have been prejudicial. It could have been too prejudicial. So you got that. Because I think that's why they were questioning, to figure out, do you know something that everybody else don't know? Like, what is it that you know? To kind of get it out in the open. But she was just playing. Like, you know how she playing, they've spent all this time playing who done it. Clue and who done it. So she just basically got told, like, answer the damn question. And the state got told you will not be asking her to play a freaking psychic. I think they had some, I think they had a few objections. They didn't have a lot, but they had a few of them. They had a few of them. They had a few of them. Because while we're talking about Cap, okay, so all 223 people. This evening, I'm going to be interviewing Maurice, the guy who's moving the camera up and down Yes, Maurice, the guy who's the cameraman. I'm going to be interviewing him this evening on TikTok. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, you need to go. You need to go over there right now. Okay, you need to go over to my TikTok and you need to follow me and you need to be in a place, be in a building tonight. Okay, it's going to be at 7 Central. I'm sorry, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So show up, show out. If you over here on YouTube, like the live. All right. Subscribe to my channel. And I just got memberships today. Like, I'm so excited about it. Like, I got on TikTok with my people and we came up with the membership names together and everything. So if you y'all in here for the long haul, y'all in here for the long haul. Come on. She said, you know how many times I sung Betty White. Yes, follow Maurice too. You gotta follow Maurice too. You gotta follow him too. She was playing, but she gonna lose. And okay, go where they watch it. Because baby, first you said you didn't know what it was, but you went and put a price tag on the one before it, on the first watch, but not the second watch. And then you're gonna say the house was turned over to his dad. So now you're trying to say his daddy taken from him. We left the box. What else was in that box? I want to know all the things that were in that box, because if anything that was in that box is in that evidence bag, baby, we need to reconsider this whole theory. The whole theory needs to be reworked. Yep. Thank you. I don't give a tuck. Long haul jury. Okay. Let's go. Hit the button and subscribe. Thugger posted unrelated picture. I gotta see it. Let me see. She was just telling the story the whole time. All this all she was doing was telling the story. And actually, I need to go pick up my daughter from daycare. So thank y'all for rocking with me. I will do, if you follow me on TikTok, I'm gonna do my 1 minute recap. I got so much. I'm gonna finish watching court too. I'm gonna do a 1 minute recap. And then we also got our interview tonight, so make sure you tune in for that. Tomorrow we are going to be streaming court all day tomorrow. So if you like streaming with me tomorrow when court start, all you gotta do is wait for me to go live, because baby, we in there. We in there all day tomorrow. No interruptions until like 3:30. Tonight, 7 Eastern. Go to my X page. I'm about to get over here, so go find another stream. Thank y'all for supporting me. I will see y'all later. Pick up my baby.